Chapter 15. Harma was lying on the ground. Larsh was kneeling over her protectively. Roan was next to him. Pete was sitting by himself with his arms around his knees. Gasping for air, Tide asked, "What happened?" Roan answered, "We don't know. We were on the second challenge, and we all got brought back at the same time, but Harma was unconscious." "Is she breathing?" Tide asked. "Yes," Roan answered. Tide pulled out both items from his pocket. "We have these. Maybe they will help." "What are they?" Roan asked. "We got them for passing the challenges," she answered. "The box says to be used in an emergency. This is an emergency." Tide handed the box to Larsh. He carefully put Harma's hand down and tried to open the box. Panic was in his eyes when he announced, "It won't open." Soothingly, she said, "It's okay, Larsh. We will try the bottle. She is unconscious, so go slow so she doesn't choke." Tide handed him the bottle, and he jerked the lid off, spilling some of the content. She went over and placed her hands on Larsh's shoulders. "We should lean her up," Roan assessed. Ever so gently, Tide lifted her so Larsh could pour the liquid into her mouth. "Come on, Harma, drink this," Larsh pleaded with her. The liquid poured down her face. "Maybe a little slower," she said softly. Larsh slowly poured the rest of the liquid into Harma's mouth. "It's not working," Larsh lamented. "Let's give it a minute," she whispered, squeezing Larsh's shoulders. Looking at Harma's face, she thought it looked a little less gray, and her eyelashes began to flutter. "It's working." A moment later, Harma opened her eyes. "Larsh," she whispered. Harma's name ripped from his chest as he began to cry. Gingerly lifting her head from Tide's arms, he cradled her. Tide and Roan stepped away, and she followed them. Noticing again that Pete was alone, she checked on him. "Hi, Pete," she said quietly, to not startle him. No response. Touching his arm lightly, she said his name again. Desperate eyes met her calm ones. "It's okay, Pete. Harma's okay." Looking confused, he asked, "Tilly?" "Yeah, Pete, it's me." Looking more confused, he started speaking frantically. "It's dark, and I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe." "Pete," she said assuringly, "look at me." Looking around wildly, but seeing nothing, he screamed out, "I can't breathe. I can't breathe." She took his hands in hers and squeezed them firmly. "You're right here, Pete." Pete continued to look around in terror, seeing nothing. She used to have nightmares like that and remembered how Palef had woken her. Roan and Tide were standing next to her. "Please help me stand him up," she said, focusing on Pete's face. They securely held Pete under his arms and lifted him. Pete was reliving his panic. "Try to have him walk," she said as she rubbed his hands together in front of Pete. "Pete," she said, "you're here with us, Pete." "Is it dark magic?" Tide whispered. "No. We need him to use his body more," she said. "Support him, but let him drop a little so he is carrying some of his weight. We need his mind and body to help him escape the darkness." Walking him forward and moving his arms up and down, he slowly returned to the present. "Hey, buddy," Roan said softly as he noticed Pete's eyes showing recognition. A deep shudder ran through Pete's body, and he jerked twice before speaking. "What's going on?" Pete asked. "We are helping you fight," she said, relieved to see Pete stabilizing. "I am so tired," Pete admitted. "As you should be," Roan smiled. "You have been working hard." "We will help Pete get to the others, if you can help Larsh and Harma," Roan suggested. Walking back to Larsh and Harma, she was relieved to see Harma smiling as Larsh spoke quietly to her. "I'm sorry to interrupt," she said. "You are always welcome," Harma smiled up at her. Harma's warm smile and kind eyes made her heart happy. "Thank you," she said in response. "Do you think you are strong enough if we help you to get back to the others?" she asked hesitantly. "How could I not be with you two helping me?" Harma answered sweetly. Slowly, and with Larsh carrying most of Harma's weight, they started their walk back to the others. Page break. Shaking with exhaustion, but not wanting anyone to see, she almost cried when they reached the opening. Rowan ran to relieve her from helping Harma, and in her first step alone, she recognized how much she had been leaning on Lars and Harma. Steadying herself, she walked to join the others. The grey team still was not there. "Should we go find the grey team?" Tide asked. Looking around the group, she was amazed to see how hard the day had been on them. It was apparent most of them could not, as they were exhausted or taking care of someone else. "Let's ensure everyone is okay here, and then we should go get the others," Rowan suggested. Harma's head was lying in Larsha's lap. Sissa sat tiredly next to Lyda, who was talking soothingly to her. Pete was sprawled out on the grass and looked like he was ready for a nap. Only Tide and Rowan were standing. She felt as if she could melt into the ground and stay there forever. "Lars," Rowan called out, "are you okay with Tide and I going to find the others?" Assessing the situation, Lars nodded. "Yeah, we will be fine." "Would it be okay if I came?" Lyda asked. Sissa made a quiet noise in protest. "We would welcome your help if you want," Tide answered. Lyda looked at her sister. "I want to go help, Sissa. Can you stay with the others?" "Okay," Sissa conceded. Feeling a tiredness she had never felt, she surprised herself by asking if she could go as well. Tide started to object. "Tilly has had the hardest challenges today. I don't think she should go." Rowan smiled. "If Tilly wants to come, I don't think any of us are going to stop her." Looking at Lars to ensure he didn't need her, she rose slowly to join the others.